compliance.
All right, so we'll call the meeting to order. Do we have a member to start on the phone at all, or?
No, the only member online currently is Barb.
Thank you. All right, we'll do a roll call. We got everybody here but member to start. Anybody time for public comment?
No public comment.
Chairman doesn't have any remarks today, so we'll move on to motion to approve our minutes.
So moved.
September 15th. Any corrections, additions, deletions? Seeing that are none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Move on to administrative update. Laura?
Yes, so we have,
Let's for the record, show member to start. Here, do we need a motion to have her participate via Zoom? We'll just do it.
I'll say yes.
All in favor, say yes.
Aye.
Welcome, member to start. We're just getting to administrative update.
we have 4 full-time open positions. One should be filled hopefully by the first or second week of November, and a couple part-time. So staff has really done a great job stepping up and filling the tasks of those missing staff members. Our new animal control officer, Maddie Anderson, came to us from Woodridge PD. She started last week, and she's comes with a lot of animal experience, having been a community service officer, so she's hitting the ground running. I shared with you that on Wednesday, November 4th, from 10 a.m. until noon, we're completing the last piece of our Service Enterprise certification. It's that volunteer program that we've been working on for over a year. This week and next, we're actually working with Joan Olson's office to do a virtual tour of our shelter. We're creating a video, approximately 15 to 20 minutes in length, which will highlight what we do, the shelter, the staff, the volunteers, as part of our certification. Normally they do these site visits in person, but due to the pandemic, they're going to be doing it virtually. Everybody is invited to join us, and I'll make sure to share that video so you guys can see the great work that we're doing over there.
Is that part of the volunteer effort?
It is,
Okay.
yeah, it is. Finally, today is week 2 of being live in our new shelter management software platform. Staff has done a great job. We did a lot of training with them ahead of time, and they've done a great job getting acclimated to the new systems. The hope is that we're going to be able to really gather data more effectively so we can make decisions about programs and our operations. Something fun that we've been doing is our new adopter engagement initiatives. How do we get our adopters, keep them kind of in our DCAS family, hear updates from our alumni. So we've created a closed Facebook group that we've been slowly inviting people to, and it's great to see the stories of the animals that have come through our building and how they've changed their humans' lives, and how they're living a better life. And the hope is we get some more donor engagement out of that, and just people feel like they're more connected to what we do. We have some new bite prevention handouts that we have been distributing as part of our rabies confinement notices. So we have both a cat one and a dog one that now go out just to kind of help continue that educational piece, to make sure that if people do have an animal that is accidentally bitten or needs some behavior modification or just some good best practices and how to avoid getting bitten. We've now been including that in our letters. And that is it.
Great, thank you, Laura.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we want to talk about Lombard too?
You can mention Lombard.
Yeah. So Lombard, if you don't mind handing me the Village of Lombard has been reviewing their ability to enact some type of humane ordinance. They're also a non-home rule area, and they are passing a resolution supporting a humane animal care initiative to support our state and county efforts. And so we really appreciate all the hard work that their members have done to support that. And they're also going to be looking to us for guidance in terms of what we might be doing. And we're going to be discussing that later today.
Yeah, Lombard's had several residents complaining about they have 2 puppy mill stores in Lombard. So there are a lot of complaints. They took it off their non-home rule, so they can't do what Downers Grove, Willowbrook, Naperville, West Chicago, Warrenville have all done. So they're looking into what Lyle had done recently for non-home rules, using some other methods to be able to do that. But in the meantime, they did pass a resolution supporting our efforts in Springfield to allow for either a countywide ban similar to Cook County, or giving them the ability to do it in a non-home rule community, And then again, we'll be discussing a little bit later on, I think 11 here. Okay, so thank you, Laura. Move on to our procurement requisitions. I get a motion for recommendation for approval of contract for purchase order of City of Wheaton.
Second.
Questions, comments, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Next, I get a recommendation for approval of contract purchase order for Ketchum Manufacturing to do our 2021 rabies tags. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. And lastly, we can get an amendment to our purchase order for our Verizon Wireless.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
They all opposed. Motion passes. Next, we'll go on to 8, discussion of our fee review. Laura spent a lot of time reviewing our fees, and I'll let her take it over.
So I'm happy to say that we've seen an uptick in the vets getting people in for their rabies vaccination. So I don't think we're going to be too far off of our projected budget numbers for rabies tag revenue. I did an evaluation of all of our collar counties to see where our rabies tag fees fall in line, and we are more towards the top end. There are a couple counties that are a little bit more expensive than us. Right now, just as a refresher on our process, so we send out these rabies tags to our veterinary partners, and we do not collect any money up front. As they vaccinate and then sell those tags, they send the certificates back to our office. We then reconcile the value of each certificate. We ensure that the certificate has correct information on it, and then we send them a bill. Some of those veterinarians take the time to assess what their amount due is, and they'll send a check with it. It's about 50-50. And then when we find discrepancies, we send them a bill or we issue a credit accordingly. It's a little bit across the board in terms of we've got some vets that are really good about complying with the ordinance, which is to submit the information the following month of vaccination, and others that are not compliant. Some will be 2 months, some will be as much as 6 months. So we're playing a little bit of chasing to try to get our certificates and then the fees. Well, one of the things that I've been suggesting to Member Krajewski is that we evaluate if we sell the tags out of the gate when they place their order for at least the base tag value. So a 1-year tag base tag value is 15, a 3-year tag base tag value is 40. And then we invoice them when we see an intact fee when that certificate comes back for the difference.
Yes.
It then puts some responsibility on our veterinary partners to be accountable for their inventory. Right now, at the end of the year, staff is spending an extremely long amount of time running reports to say, okay, what tag numbers came back, which tag numbers are missing, what did they send back in terms of unused inventory, and inevitably we always have some missing tags, and it's just hard to chase down these vets, and then
win-win situation.
they're putting pressure on us then to get the next year's tags out. So
We brought this issue up a couple of years ago, it may have been just before you got here, Laura. The coroner has something similar because he has to issue to the funeral homes the certificates or cremation tags. But he's at the beginning of the year, he gives each one of them whatever they want, and they have to buy them up front at the beginning of the year. And then if they go through them all, they call and order more. So it's not after the fact where they're remitting it. So
Jack off. Anybody second that? Anybody second?
So I don't know what the thoughts are regarding if we want to look at, and this would start effective the first of the year.
yeah, we'd have to move quickly because we normally start sending tags out in December, but we want to make sure to give our veterinary partners enough heads up that the change is coming so that they can let us know what their order quantities are. Because a vet that we might have sent 1,000 tags to right out of the gate may, whatever their cash flow situation might be, they'll have to give us an order and submit payment.
I like staying ahead of the game, so I think that's a great idea.
Remember to start?
Yeah, I want to agree as well. I think this is a great idea and we need to do it immediately. Yeah, let's get that ball rolling right now.
Yeah. The second part of the fee just goes.
Remember.
Just looking at both sides of things.
Yeah.
Would a fine or okay, you're submitting you've already distributed 6 months worth of rabies tags. We need it in a month. I'm just, looking at that other side.
Yeah.
Let's, rather than a carrot, put out a stick.
Yeah, so for those veterinarians that are not compliant, we've talked about if having a fine would be in
Yeah.
place for those that either A, don't remit the certificates in a manner that's easy for us to read and scan, B, don't remit certificates in a timely manner or slow pay. At the end of the day, they're partners in helping us make sure that residents are compliant with the law. So we're trying to take an approach where we understand that this is an extremely labor-intensive, painful process for them as much as it is for us. So I want to work with them first to try to say, hey, how can we help you be compliant, help your residents, help your pet owners, and help us? So I think if we can try this approach, and some vets have said that they would actually prefer this approach. It helps keep them a little bit more organized too.
Okay.
I think where the complexity is, we have a lot of different variables in our tag prices. So in addition to the two different types of tags, 1 and 3 year, we have our intact, our altered, and then we have these senior discounts. So they don't know how much this tag value is going to be when they sell it. And some of them are also already upcharging their clients for their administrative burden. So if I sell a tag at the county for $15, I've seen vets upcharge it anywhere from $1.50 up to $5 for their administrative burden. So we want to make sure it's not, and there isn't anything in the law that says they can't do that. So I want to make sure it's reasonable for them.
Discussion only,
Yeah.
I'm not advocating for that.
The other discussion would be, do we continue offering a senior discount? Now to date, it's been, I can run some numbers and find out how many people are actually taking advantage of the senior discount. So it's a $1 tag per year, whether it's a 1-year tag or a 3-year tag, if your pet is altered, or an 11-year tag, or sorry, $11 tag if your pet is intact.
So it's a $1 discount for a senior?
It's a $14 discount or a $39
Oh.
discount. Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost not worth the paper processing.
Well, shit,
I mean,
we're
we have
just
people
charging
put
$1, right?
$1 in envelope with cash in envelopes sometimes.
I mean, we should either make it free or get rid of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. $1 is not significant enough
You waste
to,
more time on it than it's worth.
right?
So what's the thought of the board? You want to just eliminate it, just give it free, I guess, for seniors, or
To
just
give you guys
eliminate,
some information, when I look at Kendall, Kane, Lake, Will, Cook, Kankakee, none of them offer a senior tag variance. The only one that did is McHenry is offering a $5 discount off of their standard tag price. So for example, McHenry charges the same price as us, $15 for a 1-year tag. If you're a senior, you get a $5 discount.
I hate to ask, but what's a senior?
65 and older. For McHenry, they call it
Picking the
62 and older though.
Dog years.
It's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
well, I think we either eliminate it or go to like a $5 discount. Otherwise, we're not even paying for our staff time to administer it for $1. What'd you say?
$5 discount, that's what I would do.
Go ahead.
So other collar counties are not offering this discount at all.
The only one is McHenry.
McHenry's the only one we've
And
identified.
what would that dollar amount be if we did not offer that?
$15, well,
No, in total.
oh, in total, I'll run some reports for you. And
Okay.
because we wouldn't be making this change today, I'd have to present it at our
Sure.
next meeting with the fee ordinance change. But I can get that numbers to the committee.
Do we
Yeah.
not offer it, I guess is where I'm going.
Yeah.
Remember this, Art?
I was just going to say that I would lean toward not offering the discount at all.
All right, so next meeting, we'll bring it up and I'll come back with numbers. Let's get us
Yeah.
some numbers.
It'll be a specific agenda item at the next meeting.
Correct.
Correct.
Laura, can I ask, do we have a vehicle for people who are low income to get?
Yeah, that's.
Free or
probably a
reduced?
better way.
Well, so
Have that
part of
vehicle?
our, yes, so part of our spay neuter program includes rabies vaccination, distemper, bordetella, and we give them a free tag for that first voucher issuance. Any subsequent vaccinations, tags, medical care is on the resident. When we were doing our free rabies vaccination clinic, a couple months ago, we were giving them a free tag as well. So the idea is that we continue to increase those types of vaccine and microchip events so that we can reach the populations that really need it.
So that's good to know. So I would still lean toward not giving seniors any discount, but any low income seniors could opt into one of these other programs.
I like that too, Don.
So, yeah, after kind of COVID subsides, we get that van out there, we can go into the areas where we know the tags have come from. Like
Right.
you can break down where those low-income people have had spay or neuters, use the certificates, and we can do like a free day mobile vaccination.
Yes,
program.
and we have a staff member that's already started heat mapping. Where are the communities that are getting the most number of vouchers? How do we evaluate if those are services that are, we have to get other services or programs into those communities?
I have a question about returned animals.
Mhm.
I'm assuming that most of the returns are from low-income families.
Not necessarily. We actually, the returned animals or just surrendered animals in general.
I got the impression every time we have an economic issue nationwide that people can't afford their dog, their cat, their goldfish, whatever it is, and they bring them back to you.
So the
And so-
animals that we're seeing surrendered to us, yes, many of them are due to financial hardship. Sometimes the situation is that they can't afford the care of their pet, but more often it's that they're moving due to their financial hardship and the place where they're moving into may not allow pets, or maybe they're moving in with family that has allergies or too many other pets. So financial hardship is,
I just didn't want to encourage a group of people to take it, that's, 3 years later, you guys are gonna get inundated with.
so that's a great point. What we are seeing is the majority of animals that get surrendered to us do not get surrendered to us with a current rabies vaccination anyway. These are animals that probably haven't been to the veterinarian in quite some time. It's very rare that an animal comes to us with any relevant medical records or current vaccinations.
And is there any age? In other words, seniors, I would think, would be better financially, and they, it's longer, so.
You know, when we see seniors surrendering pets, it's normally because they're moving into assisted living. And it's not so much, it's more of a change of their life than it is a financial reason.
Because I just want to play with the finances, so I encourage the people who take an animal to keep the animal normally, get the animals, whereas the ones who are more problematic and bring it back, don't take the
Well, if you look at our pet population fund and the free spay neuter we offer to low income people, and they can have it for as many pets as the village allows. And it's amazing how many people come through and will have 3 or 4. They're low income people, but animals, they're going through getting spay or neuter because we offer free vouchers and that's how many the town allows, but they got the maximum animals and they're low income.
Yeah. So the third part of my approach to make sure that we're keeping track with our fees was first to talk about selling the tags up front. Second, this discussion about the senior discount. And then the third, which is more on us, is how do we start changing the narrative around compliance? Because I'll share an example. The other day, a woman came in to buy her rabies tag, and she was 65 or older, so she was getting the senior discount. She handed me her $1, and I thanked her for not only following, getting compliant with the law, but letting her know that that $1 helps run this our animal shelter for homeless pets. And when people realize that we're not funded by the general fund and that the purchase of their rabies tag helps other pets, she gave me another $20 and she wanted to make a donation. So if we can start talking more about and getting that information out to the community, how vaccination and compliance is beneficial, not just to their pet and their family, but to the broader community, to have a healthy community for people and pets, I think that people will feel good about doing that.
Well, I've been saying that for years, is we need a database with pet owners who love animals to do an annual giving program with them and get their emails or addresses through their vets.
So you have a foundation, I think they
Well,
probably.
we have it at the shelter because we have their detail of their rabies
Yeah.
tag. So we have every person in the
At the
county.
shelter, how do you get that?
Census.
So there are a couple counties that when you buy your rabies tag, they're online, there's an option to make a donation. I think with putting that option out there isn't enough. I think you have to look at how do you strategically get the messaging out there so people understand how we operate, what drives.
I mean, the best way to do it is when they're a captive audience,
Mhm.
bringing their pet into the vet, and either saying, hey, you want to sign up for this, or give them a brochure. But I mean, I just think that's a lost opportunity. Every year when I bring in my cats, nobody tells us about it.
Right, and so because over 90% of our tags are sold by our veterinary partners, they can be our strongest voice. So when we talk about how do we build better relationships with our vet partners, trying to avoid the fines, trying to make the process easier, but then how do we get them on board talking about the value of vaccination
I
and
think what Grant's
registration?
leading to is, I don't know how many tags do we get, but we have all the names and addresses, everybody in DuPage County that has that. Can you give that to Animal Friends and let them do a solicitation letter to all
I mean, that's,
100,000?
we've been talking about fundraising for years. And, you know, the biggest base of people that hit are current pet owners, and we don't reach out to them. And I don't think we've organized with the vets. I've been saying that for years, so you guys are probably tired of
You sound
hearing
like
about it.
Healy, and that's not a compliment.
I know.
Another $20 donation, we would have been number one in the giving DuPage their grant took second for the DuPage Animal Friends of all the charities. So, a little short, at midnight donation.
No, you're staying.
Whole nother-
Okay, we're moving on to our IGA for animal services.
So right now we offer animal-related assists to our municipal partners. We accept stray animals from our municipal partners, and we do this all just kind of a handshake agreement and posting fees in our ordinance. There's never been any formal agreement between agencies that, hey, these are the services we offer. This is your responsibility. This is how we bill you. This is how you pay us. And so we've looked at other counties that have IGAs in place and worked with our Trevor Prindle, our state's attorney.
There he is.
There he is. And put together this draft. We are not voting on it or moving it to county board yet. I just wanted to put this in front of you guys to get some feedback. We would need to attach the fee amendment to it, but I think this would be a good first step. And also, once again, building stronger relationships with our municipal partners.
Is this a service or is this revenue oriented? Because I'm curious as to see, do we break even with this? I'm all for intergovernmental agreements, but you know, is this something at the end of the day, we're going to say we're doing it because it's a service and we're helping the community? Or is this something at the end of the day is going to be a revenue source that's going to help?
It's already a revenue source, but it's not a very big one. I ran some numbers. Obviously, this year our numbers are significantly down.
But how many municipalities do we anticipate signing up, or have we signed up already?
We haven't signed anybody up.
We don't have one, so we're just
Because
doing
we have
it.
nothing. We have nothing in place.
But how many municipalities are we doing it with?
We probably have, I would say, about 15 that consistently use us to bring us stray animals or
They
ask
go
for
to 30,
assistance.
that's not going to be an overburden on our staff. They can handle 15 more municipalities, or we have I don't know, is this, do you expect this to make revenue, or is it going to be revenue neutral, or is it more of a service based?
I think it's going to be neutral.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're already charging a fee. I think there hasn't been strong communication around what we do, understanding those fees. We send something out every year, but there's no communication.
Well, it makes sense with only one animal shelter and they drop off the animals there, that the county do the entire service for the entire county, and the municipalities kick in when it benefits their residents. There's, I mean, there's an animal person at every single municipality, right? I mean, I had
Well, Naperville's kind of got their own shelter.
geez, I'm sure.
Several of them, and there's several of them down by me. Maybe you could check with Hinsdale. Several of the communities use Hinsdale Humane
Right,
Society.
we're not the only shelter,
So there,
yeah.
other towns are using other shelters versus coming out the county
Well, I
side.
can't believe we didn't have anything in writing already, so I think that's a great start, then we'll go from there.
So what's it when a Bloomingdale person brings a pig over? Is that extra? Or-
Unfortunately, and when an animal does get reclaimed, we don't charge Bloomingdale, right? So that pig got reclaimed. It didn't cost Bloomingdale anything then because we're recouping our costs from the pet owner.
Gotta clean the back of the police vehicle.
Pick up a pig.
I did. Thank God they answered the phone. That's all I can say.
All right, we'll move on to the last item we have here. And just so look over that IGA, and it's just to get for information, but we should probably, we're already doing it and offering the service. We should just probably memorialize
Yes, I
it.
think
into an
that's a great
IGA.
idea, another action item.
And then last thing under new business, our ordinance, amending chapter 26. I know we got Paul Hoss, but I don't know if you want to start, Laura or Paul. This is, again, we're non-home rule, so we can't do what some of the home rule communities have done in DuPage. Lyle under the state municipal code, use some language to be able to ban the sale of dogs in their town by using that. We have something similar. And so I'll let Paul explain the ordinance. Yeah, that's why he's driving in. So you can explain what Lyle did, Paul?
He is parked.
Explain what Lyle
Sure.
did. Something similar.
Sure.
under our county code.
Just to be clear, I am parked. So we reached out to Lyle, had a conversation with the folks at Lyle, and found how they sort of pieced together through using the Illinois Municipal Code and their own codes. They created some new codes in their own code of ordinances. And we found similar state statutes in the county's section of the Illinois state statutes to the Illinois Municipal Code. And essentially what the codes that Lyle used that the county can use is to treat animal cruelty as a nuisance. And it is the nuisance then that the county can move forward on to shut down the nuisance. It's not directly related to pets per se, but it's shutting down a nuisance. So there are several codes that we've passed along to the state's attorney's office from the Illinois statutes under the county's code. And we found the nuisance code in the county's code that we could also trigger as opposed to going into, for instance, the zoning code, which we think would be problematic because that's more of a land use code, and that would be problematic for our non-home rule issues. But using the nuisance code that the county already had and adding on to it and then adopting these state statutes, we feel that, or the state's attorney's office feels that we can shut down the nuisance, which is the animal cruelty. And that's sort of a general overview, but it's similar to what Lyle used using the municipal code.
Well, good to see what the members' thoughts are, whether adding to our county code that animal cruelty is a nuisance. And to the extent we have an animal cruelty, then we have the ability, whether it's our state's attorney, our sheriff, or our ACOs, animal control officers, have the ability to go in and take care of that nuisance.
Correct.
Either confiscate an animal being abused, or but they have the right to do that versus having to call the Department of Agriculture and seeing hopefully they would ever show up and look at that. So,
right. The key there is that we talked about a prohibition in the zoning code, for instance.
You know what, Paul? What's your thoughts, Tom?
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We talked about a prohibition against that, and pet stores are legal uses. So the prohibition would be problematic in terms of not having a home rule. But once again, it would assume that there would be a pet store that could open, and then depending on the animal cruelty aspect, the state's attorney, sheriff, or someone from animal services could go in and declare a nuisance because of the animal cruelty, and that's how you could take the animals out. And if it just so happened that there was an abundance of animals that were being mistreated, then if the secondary impact was that the store couldn't operate anymore, well, it wouldn't be shutting down the store for use. It'd be shutting down the store for the nuisance issues.
So thoughts, the rest of the committee, on adding the animal cruelty as a nuisance to our code? Sure.
This is for a vote.
Sure.
Can I ask, what is the genesis for bringing this up? Isn't animal cruelty a criminal act? Isn't it against the law already?
I think this gives us more, well, it probably is, but I think it gives us more ability to go in and check on that with, I guess, surprise visits and without,
So we're a little bit hamstringed when we get a complaint about a pet store not caring for animals properly, or when somebody's purchased an animal and there's problems with it, by having to then escalate that up to the Illinois Department of Agriculture, because they are the agency that licenses and regulates that business.
Right.
And so usually they'll make a phone call and say, we're scheduled to come out next Tuesday, and by the
give
time
them
they
time to clean
there,
up.
it's cleaned up. This would give us the ability, if we have a complaint, we can just show up. Somebody
Okay.
complains, our sheriff can go, our state's attorney can go, our ACOs can go.
Okay, I would be in favor of adding this to our our county code, sure.
All right, well, I'll get a motion then to, for the ordinance amending chapter 26 of the code.
So
Second,
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, and thanks for the work. And Paul, thank you very much for all the research on that. Old business, any old business? Any new business? Okay, without objection, we are adjourned. I got 40 seconds to get next door.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.